All right, everyone. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the Daily Fail, meme review, software releases, and the websites by plebes. Drop us a like and subscribe. All right, we're going to the numbers. We are currently at a block height of 675,375. Current Bitcoin price, 58,530. Chain rewrite days, 615. Total lightning capacity, 1,145.66. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 9.67%. Sats per dollar. Oh yeah, they're dropping. 1,709. And yeah, we did not make the all-time high, which everybody sees, but
freaking incredible, crazy numbers, awesome. Can't believe we're consolidating at these levels. It's like a broken record player, but they were exactly the same yesterday. So our thoughts haven't changed. But anyways, for anyone who's new to the channel and was confused why you saw Rubber Chicken, this is Satoshi, the Bitcoin Rubber Chicken, and he clucks when the price of Bitcoin reaches an all-time high. But that's not today, but hopefully very soon. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Fail. All right, our Daily Fail, kind of a multi-parter, but it'll all make sense, right? Augustin Karsten from the Bank of International Settlements. Let's just read the tweet first before we dive into this. And there's the proof. Central banks want total control of how you use your money. CBDCs are not cash equivalents. Fight this, opt out via Bitcoin, of course. Let's hear what he had to say.
Our analysis on CBDC, in particular for the use of general use, we tend to establish the equivalence with cash, and there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also, we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is.
It's very important that these people, because you need to be able to trust them, and they're very, they're very trustworthy people. I mean, you can 100% trust what these people are doing. There's no way that Christine Lagarde was ever convicted. Oh, well, turns out that she was convicted for, over massive government payouts. And then, of course, we've got the case against Bitcoin, according to Bank of America, which, if we all take a look at, who their backers are, we can easily see. We can trust these people. And it's important that these people have total control of what they can see in our transactions and in our lives. Do you know how disgusting and psychotic this is? These people can't keep their own house clean. And we are going to sit there and just hand them over the keys so that we can become slaves to these utter morons? I think it's insane. I mean, wow.
The information is so mind-blowing that it speaks for itself, and it's crazy, man, that I don't know if you noticed, Phil, but that guy is living proof, like is physical proof that inflation is a real thing.
He's definitely physical proof that the inflation is a real thing, but I just find it an absolute mindfuck. I'm sorry, I got to swear for that, because that's what it is. These people cannot. They do not manage the monetary policy accurately. They do not manage it correctly. Okay? We are stuck in shit because they have no clue what they're doing. Okay? And they're winging it, and they pretend that they don't, and we're supposed to sit there and trust them?
Dude, and it's so tyrannical and insidious what he said about the central bank digital currencies and how, they essentially that's that's what's going to enable them to have total control, and that's what they want, right? And then you have like the Forbes article, which is like the propaganda arm of this fucking system, of this, you know, rigged financial system, saying essentially like making the case against Bitcoin, like Bank of America. It's like the horse and buggy people essentially making the case against cars. Of course, they're going to say there's a case against Bitcoin. It puts them out of business, right? The future retail banks are in trouble. And it really isn't Bitcoin's fault, right? You have like Cash App, you have like apps like Cash App that essentially act like a checking account, but they also act like a Bitcoin wallet. And now you're essentially could send Bitcoin to anyone within the Cash App ecosystem. Retail banks are out of business because you have Bitcoin on one side, and then you have central bank digital currencies that are coming on the other side that essentially disintermediate them too, right? Because citizens are going to be doing business directly with the central banks, and that's scary as hell. Think about how much they could censor you, Phil, if they want to, right? Like, there's nothing stopping them.
And you know what I mean? They're the gatekeepers, and of course, you know, they're kind of the biggest culprit in all of this. And we're gonna sit there and let them watch everything and control where everything goes. Can't even control themselves.
Look at him.
This is stupid.
Clearly, he can't.
Stupid.
Look at him.
Regardless of that, right? Like, regardless of any of that, yeah, I'm just saying, like, they've proven that they are completely incompetent when it comes to monetary policy. Look at what is happening. Look at what has happened. It's ridiculous.
I mean, like, look at what he was saying, Phil. Like, look at what he was saying. Like, look at that shit, dude. You know, it speaks like
It
that.
speaks volumes.
It speaks volumes. Like, this is exactly what they want in their world of dystopia of central bank digital currencies. Thank Satoshi for Bitcoin. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the daily meme review.
All right, everybody. The meme for today is brought to us by, I don't know who this is, but I guess he's cool, Rudy Havenstein. And did I do this right? And I guess this is one of his first memes, but it's an excellent meme. JPOW, Bitcoin, dollar, gold. Yes, yes, yes. Phenomenal meme, man. Rubenstein, Harvenstein, whoever you are. If that was your first meme, excellent meme. And because that was such an excellent meme, I'm going to give it this styrofoam casing piece.
Definitely agreed. I mean, that was a great meme. Yeah, I follow Rudy Havenstein. I think he's got some great posts. And you know what? That was a cool meme. And for that, he gets what I think is a shallot. I'm pretty sure.
I don't even know what a shallot is, bro.
Pretty sure that's a shallot. Is that? Pretty sure.
I don't know what a shallot is, but a shallot and a styrofoam piece. Awesome.
It's like an onion.
Awesome.
It's like an onion.
It's
from
like
the
an
family.
It's a fancy onion. Fancy onion.
onion.
But anyways, guys, if you have memes, if you have awesome memes, make sure to join our Telegram channel. It's down below. Join and post your memes, and we will review them on the meme review. We'll try to, because it's the meme review. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily News, sponsored by Crypto Cloaks.
All right, everybody. The news for today. Check this out. This article from The Block. Latin America's first Bitcoin ETF receives approval in Brazil. And I know what you're thinking, unless you live in Brazil. If you live in Brazil, shout out. That's freaking awesome. I know we got a fan in Brazil. Shout out to you, bro. But yeah, man. So awesome for Brazilians. First Bitcoin ETF received approval. But I know what most people are thinking. It's like, look, I'm not from Brazil. Why should I care? Well, dude, it goes back to this theme, Phil, of the US is essentially being left behind, behind the rest of the world, right? In the US, they haven't even, these are the types of articles that are coming out still, right? Why a US Bitcoin ETF could be a real thing in 2021. Like, oh, it could be a thing. You know, Bitcoin's 12 years old, but it could still be a thing, right? And it's not for lack of trying, right? This is a great article from The Street, right? And they essentially summarize exactly what the problem is. To quote, the ever elusive Bitcoin ETF has been a hot topic of conversation over the past couple of years. Many US issuers have tried to bring one to market. To date, all have failed. The issue acting as a roadblock is the SEC. The regulatory body has refused to approve such a product on the grounds that it's uncomfortable with the risk. It's uncomfortable with the risk involved in an unregulated product in an ETF wrapper. So it's just more of this, you saw this type of attitude, this type of bravado when the European Central Bank tweeted, you can't trust digital currencies because they're highly volatile. There's no institution backing them. It's the same thing. Right? It's the same crap, Phil. It's like there's nothing backing Bitcoin, therefore it's completely the Wild West, therefore we can't allow it. And it's so hypocritical. What do you mean highly? The stock market, there's so much volatility there in some stocks. No, but so it's like it's that hypocrisy. But anyway, those are my thoughts, Phil. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so first of all, right, when we had the whole mortgage meltdown and everything like that, right, we had credit default swaps. Okay, they bundled a whole bunch of dog shit mortgages, right? They knew that when they were never going to get paid back, they bundled them into products and they sold those products to investment houses, okay? And these were people's retirement funds that were going into that. So this is, I just, and they're going to sit there and they're going to piss on Bitcoin. Like, honestly, like, really, it's just getting so sad, everybody just, they sound like, they really do sound like morons, right? They go around the circle with their with their same FUD over and over again,
Dude, I totally...
And they act blind. It's like they act blind to the world that's around them. Anyways.
No, I totally agree. And it's so disconnected from reality. And there's like this war going on between, essentially this war of information, and like us Bitcoiners are at the forefront of that, kind of telling everybody the truth in, using memes, essentially, it's not a joke, right? And you have, the establishment that's saying, look, the printing of the money, the stimulus check, the helicopter money, everything's fine. We're discontinuing the metrics. Everything is okay, and oh, by the way, if you get a pinprick, you'll be fine, but you still need to wear a chin diaper, right? So it's crazy. The narrative, the matrix, it's all falling down. This is the fourth turning. This is insane. And guys, this isn't, this sounds crazy, but on Sunday or on the weekend edition of Simply Bitcoin, we're going to cover a segment on a lot of other people that are necessarily not from the Bitcoin echo chamber. A lot of predominant figures feel like they feel like the government and the forces of elite and the institutions have failed the public as well, right? So yeah, man, it's just crazy, Phil.
I feel like they've turned up the noise. Like I feel like all the noise is turned up. The confusion is turned up. The anger is turned up. The divide is turned up. It's like everything is just amplified, and it makes it very, I think it makes it very difficult, for the average person to make, a proper informed decision if they wanted to.
Yeah, Phil, that's a perfect segue. And yeah, man, unfortunately, this time in history, again, guys, just a disclaimer, we're Simply Bitcoin, so we don't lean left, we don't lean right, we lean whatever Bitcoin leans, we lean Bitcoin. That's our political party. Just to clarify that, unfortunately, the left, as of late, if they have their reasons, they have their reasons, like they feel justified to censor some type of speech. Right. And that's exactly what you were saying, Phil, about how there's this uproar that's going on. And I think that this is a major cause. And I think that this should be a major concern to all Bitcoiners, because remember, guys, Bitcoin is a form of free speech. right? And as soon as they kill off the forms of communication, they're gonna go after Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a form of communication. And what other better way to communicate than to give someone value, to give someone energy, right? So just check out this video by Tucker. By Tucker.
A lot of interesting things happening in journalism right now. Traditional journalism is collapsing in some ways. A lot of people being laid off. Where do you go to write stories honestly? There are very few places left where you can do that. Substack may be the biggest. It's one of the only places on the internet where journalists can publish whatever they want freely. Independent writers create their own content, and this is key, they're supported by their subscribers. Now, this arrangement makes the corporate media and some people on Twitter very angry. They hate dissent, and they hate the idea of being able to speak without a filter, so they're calling for Substack to be banned and its writers to be censored. Having an opinion that Jeff Bezos or CNN haven't vetted is wrong. Michael Tracy is one of the big draws on Substack. He's an independent journalist. He's being targeted for giving his opinions. He's basically kind of on the left, by the way, but they're going after him. He joins us tonight. Michael Tracy, thanks so much for coming on. And I should say, never touted anything, but I think you're one of the smartest voices on Twitter. They're not that they're, a lot of competition, but you definitely are. So tell us what they're trying to do to Substack.
Well, Substack is a venue that rewards independent thought. Yes. And so clearly it infuriates journalists on that ground because they're chronically incapable of it. And the online media industry is filled with the most tedious mediocrities who could never.
So I'm just going to end the video right there because I just wanted to show the first part because, guys, we've been telling you this, for months now. Right. This idea that there's establishment media that wants you to believe a narrative and they will fight against any dissidents. Right. And now, man, they're going after essentially an independent platform that allows journalists to be independent from the institutions. That's absolutely nuts. And guys, again, this isn't. There's no conspiracies. There's no coincidence. This is Tucker Carlson telling you this. This is not just some Bitcoiners on YouTube telling you this, right? So it's just absolutely alarming. And what happened today was even more alarming. Twitter has locked Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene out of her account as Democrats ready resolution to expel her from U.S. Congress. So you have collusion between essentially the people that control the public forum and a government institution to censor a sitting U.S. government official that hasn't been kicked off yet, right? This should scare the living crap out of you. And the last article I wanted to point out as to why, or it's a good example as to why it should scare the living crap out of you. I highlighted it, the quote that I wanted to read. However, cryptocurrency influencer Andreas Antonopoulos claims that this is exactly what the satellites are for, people who can't access the Bitcoin network via traditional internet connections. As you may know, China is big on censorship, especially when it comes to cryptocurrencies, which would enable citizens to make decisions without the government's knowledge, right? So, and we showed it in another episode, how someone wrote a message in a Bitcoin transaction saying that Taiwan is free, right? And there's no way that China could ever take that down, right? Bitcoin is uncensorable. It's an uncensorable form of speech, right? That's essentially what Bitcoin is. When you're giving money to someone, you're speaking to them in a way, you're communicating with them, right? And Bitcoin allows any type of communication. You can't stop it. That's what makes it so special, right? So as soon as they go after free speech and as soon as they start, which they have been, and we've warned you since January, this was going to continue escalating, right? Like it has been. And now it's gotten to the point, the boiling point, that they're literally censoring a sitting member of Congress, right? You should just keep an eye out, right? And protect free speech, make your voice heard on Twitter, right? And yeah, Phil, it's alarming, man. It's alarming, and I'm just so glad we got this orange force field protecting us from all this BS. If we didn't, we'd be forced to care about politics. It'd be insanity.
Oh my gosh. I just, we'd only read about this type of reality when I was a kid. This was like, this will never happen, right? And here we are. This is really crazy. What's going on with Substack? I mean, think about it here. These journalists, right? I'm sorry, I'm going back to the beginning of your story, but these journalists, they're being supported by their own, their own supporters. They're not being paid by some company or something like that on Substack.
Dude,
like it's just insane. It's like
1989, the thought police. You're going against the narrative. Remember, we've been covering this for a week, dude. We've been saying, guys, remember, look,
it's just getting worse.
The fact that this person's going on CNN and just saying, if you don't take this vaccine, if you don't take this, nothing's going to be okay, should be extremely alarming. Okay, guys, it is continuing to escalate. Right? It hasn't stopped since January, right? And it's like, this is why Bitcoin is so important. It protects you from this madness, right? It gives you the ability not only to vote with your money, and they can't control, not only can you take complete control over your money, right? You also take complete control over where you can go. You could vote with your feet, you could move, and you could take everything with you, right? So that takes away their power, right? This goes back to that central banker video, the video that you played in the Daily Fail, Phil, where the guy was saying, we don't like cash. Of course they don't like cash.
No.
Because cash, they can't control you with cash.
Yeah, that's right.
They can't control you. And this is all about control. Surfer Jim, we brought him the other day because he is so pure in the way that he sees it. And it's very simple. It's all about control, and they are losing control. It's breaking their matrix. Their system of control is just like collapsing before our eyes, Phil. It's insanity, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. It really is.
It really is. It really is. Phil, there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. All right, it looks like we've got, I so want to buy one of these, but I never do. I've put it in my cart 5 times and I haven't done it. The Blockclock Mini firmware version 1.0.8 was released, and it is down below in the show notes.
Dude, I completely feel you, but I caved. I
know.
I bought one recently.
I might cave. I can. It's just, I don't need a clock. I know that it's not telling the time, and I know that I could get all this information anywhere else for no payment.
But I want to look at it. I just want to look at. That's why I was like, dude, I could just look at this every day. Just like while I'm at my desk, I could just look at this block clock. But, anyways, guys. Okay. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button. Smash it. And of course, if you love the show and you like what me and Phil are doing, we're telling you the news from the Bitcoin perspective. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And of course, we will see you tomorrow for the weekend edition of Simply Bitcoin.